Hello, visionaries. Welcome to KetanVision. I'm your host, Eli Ketan, and I am here with the Mr. Chipper Harbin back in the studio with me to hang out. And we were just about to talk about your stalker that is in White House, Tennessee. You must expand upon this.
Well, first of all, I didn't realize how close we were to White House. So a little uncomfortable telling the story now this close. Yeah, real quick. So typically I work hard Tuesday through Saturday. That's my schedule. It's been my schedule for years. This particular giving, I believe it was a Wednesday actually. I was sitting at home. I had gotten a cancellation, so rather than just hang around the studio, I just kind of went home for the day and just got my head right. You with me?
Yep.
And I was watching There Will Be Blood or some. I feel like it was There Will Be Blood. Some classic.
Yeah.
Man movie. You know what I mean? Daytime deal. Nothing going on. Put it on. Deep into it. Right towards the tail end of the movie, you're really starting kind of the climactic scene, so to speak. And I hear the knock on the front door of my house. I'm like, well, that makes no sense. Because anyone that really knows me, first of all, they know to come to the back of the house. There's no energy in the front. You come to the back. And who the hell's coming to my house on a Wednesday afternoon at like 2 in the afternoon, right? Anyone that knows me knows I'm going to be working. Yeah, it makes and why aren't you working? It makes no sense. Well, anyway, I go to the door and there's this guy, and I'll do my best impersonation for you. I open the door and there's this guy just standing on my front porch like this.
It's me. Wow.
Feel out uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Longer than that. Way uncomfortable, right? Ridiculously uncomfortable. So I'm like, well, can I help you? He's like, oh, well, you don't know who I am, do you? And I was like,
should I?
He's like, well, I know who you are. And I'm like, oh, come on. That's the wrong way to approach any conversation, but certainly this one, right? So he's like, oh, no. My mom and your mom used to play together when they were kids in Illinois and blah, 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 whatever. My mother's family is from Illinois. She's went on and on and on about her family because she's just a fantastic family member and remembers birth dates and all of the stuff.
Oh, I'm jealous.
So he's saying just enough that I'm like, oh, okay, well, I get it. And I let my guard down. It was like July. So I was, dude, it's hot as hell out here. Come on inside. Right? And so I invite the stranger. But he sold me on family, like distant cousins or something because of our, I don't know why, but her family.
Yeah, well, if it's someone like you.
My mom, your mom played together. Bonds, so we must hang out.
6 degrees of family separation there.
Anyway, so he walks in the house, bro. The second he walks, as soon as he steps through the doorway, it changes. And everything is, oh, dude, I love your tattoos. Oh my God, your tattoos are phenomenal. Oh man, the way you use color. Just ego stroke after ego stroke that is so ridiculous. It's so out of control. You know when someone is legitimately caring about your art or your process or you. And you know when someone is just
trying to grease you up there.
Dude, it's the worst. It was the worst. In my living room. So he just, oh man, just kept going on and on. And I was like, look, dude. I have a booking manager, which legitimate at the time. I did have a booking manager. I didn't even think about controlling my own books. This guy did a great job at it. Hey, you reach out to him. He takes care of the books. I'll see you for the tattoo appointment. We'll discuss the art at some point, but this is not the way to do this. And just so you know, I don't really talk about tattoos outside of the tattoo studio. If you want to talk about art inspiration, if you want to talk about, art passion, art process, just the working effort, any of those things, let's do that. Tattooing just by itself, well, that's kind of a boring conversation after a while because it's a one-sided thing. You know what I mean? You're trying to get something out of me, and
your artwork is so good. It's so I love the contemporary style. Those colors are bright.
Right.
I have no idea of the profession, but hey.
I heard these words on Ink Master. But anyway, so back to the point. He just ego stroke after ego stroke. And so I politely told him, it's like, hey, man, I feel like I'm being a pretty polite guy to this random stranger that could be a slasher.
And he's already in your house.
Right. I'm like, hey, I don't really talk about tattoos outside the studio. A polite list of, hey, we can talk about all sorts of art, but not just tattoos. Come on. And you'll have to reach out to my booking manager. He'll cover this. This is not the place. This is not where we do that. This is where we live. This is not where we do business.
Right.
Unlike you, where you live and do business in the same place.
Yes.
Am I allowed to say that?
If you want to, it's fine. People don't, only a select few know of this area, and I'm a 2A supporter, so come if you want to.
Dude. What does 2A supporter mean?
Second Amendment,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know we were getting that deep that quick. Sorry. Whoa. So this dude in my living room multiple times gets onto the tattoo conversation after, oh man, it's so cool that you have 2 kids and I have 2 kids. You don't have any family in Nashville and I don't have any family here.
So he was already doing some back research there.
He told me how he found my address. He said, oh yeah, I paid like $10 to find this whatever, not a Google search, but something. It wasn't even really like dark web stuff. It was just normal. Oh, I paid this money and they gave me your address and I cruised by your house. But here's what's really bizarre. My birth name, like my real name is not Chipper.
Yeah.
So how are you matching that up with addresses and just the whole bizarre...
That is...
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't really get that deep into the story. So this guy is pretty repetitively talking about tattoos and whatever. And then he gets talking about we have 2 kids and I don't have any family in Nashville and neither does he. Turns out he lives in White House, which is the catalyst of this story. I didn't realize we were that close. Back and forth, and I'm being as polite as I can be in my own house with a stranger that I thought we were going to be some sort of family.
And you're both alone. It's just you two, right?
Just the 2 of us. Clearly. Anyway, midway through, he's like, yo, do you mind if I use the bathroom? So it's like, all right, dude. And he was in my bathroom forever. Dude, forever.
Oh, man.
I text my neighbor. My neighbor had a recording, like a music recording studio down in his basement next door. It was always over there, demoing records or working on records, whatever. And I text him. I was like, yo, Anderson, if you hear something popping off, get over here, bro. I'm getting stabbed in the neck or something. Getting bludgeoned. Something
weird's about to happen.
Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
At this point it was odd, and I still was trying to be a host of some sort. So when he comes back out, we get to talking about tattoos again. I kind of get dad voice. I'm like, it's not happening, bro. I'm sorry. By principle, it's not happening. And I told him, I was like, hey, man, there's like 30 minutes left in this movie. I said, I'd really like to get back to watching it. I kind of got a vibe going, or had a vibe going.
Yeah.
If you want to stay and watch it, I guess you're welcome to, but that's kind of weird. Who does that?
Oh, man.
Kind of a polite, there's the door. He said, yeah, man, well, how about I give you my number? And if you ever want to go out and grab a beer, hang, whatever, one night, give me a call, drinks on me. So I was like, all right, whatever, cool. So he gives me his number, right? Now, my mother and we're close. We talk multiple times a week. They live in Virginia, but we
of course,
talk.
Yeah. Always got to keep in touch.
Yeah. So obviously I'm going to bring this guy up to my mom, and I describe him, and I don't remember his name from anyone, which is so unfortunate. I don't think he actually told me his name, because I feel like that would be very important.
Yeah.
He
probably started complimenting you so fast that...
I was so full of myself in the moment. He's at my house. Anyway, though, I bring him up, and my mom's just like, no, I don't, this doesn't ring a bell at all. Find out who his mom is, and I'll know based on who his mother is, but this doesn't sound right to me at all. And again, I mentioned my mother knows everyone in her family and their cousins and their nephews and their nieces or whatever. So I'm like, what? So I text this dude because he gives me his number. And I'm like, hey, check this out. My mom and I were talking today. Naturally, I bring this up. She's like, who's your mom again? And I don't hear anything from this dude. Radio silence. To this day, I've not heard anything. I mean, he's over there, I'm sure, watching us, but to this day, I've not heard anything from him.
Yeah, as soon as you started your investigation on him, he cut it. He didn't think that you were going to talk to your mom? Come on now.
I wonder where you got the information, though. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of open source sites that you can pay. If he had your number or details of your business, it's pretty easy to get your information from there. I never think to use the internet that way. I'm afraid of Amazon orders. Just any kind of stuff like that is I'm afraid of it. Just the internet in general. The internet, it's out to get you, I'm
just satisfied not knowing.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. there's a lot of open source stuff that you can use to find out information on somebody that you.
I know a dude, and I'm not sure if I should be. I won't say their names. Not a close friend, but a guy that I know ordered from the dark web a sack of cocaine and a silencer for a pistol. 2 separate orders, separate locations. When it came to him in the mail from the dark web, it came in the same box.
I wonder.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I wonder if he used like Silk Road back in the day or something.
Well, you know some spots.
I mean, I read a lot. I have to, keep abreast of. What's
I don't know
going on.
any. I don't know any. The dark. I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
I got a Google search. I'll ask Siri. My wife clowns on me all the time for. Is that an old person thing to ask Siri for stuff?
No, I don't use Siri as much because it never listens to me. I'm like, I'll be yelling at it. Hey,
I spell horribly, so I'll ask Siri how to spell something, or the use of a word, like which. Oh, it destroys me. There.
Well, I think due to autocorrect and stuff that helps humans spell correctly,
It makes us dumber.
Yeah, because we're so dependent on it. Like sometimes when I'm lazy, I'll like type out the broad spectrum of the word, and it'll be like, oh, it's this. I'm like, okay.
I was telling my daughter this weekend, I was down in North Carolina, kicking it with them, and I was telling her the word witch. I'm so bad at, 1, being an adult, 2, at humility. So, what the adult side of things is like, I should know how to spell this. I don't. If I'm going to say, which one would you like to? Hey, we're having a cookout this weekend. You're going to come hang. What do you want me to get at the store for you? Which one do you want, steak or chicken? I don't know which to use. So I told him, so I'm bad at being an adult and knowing things, cheating my way through school. Mm-hmm. I'm horrible at humility because I don't want to ask someone, hey, how would you say whatever, which one would you prefer? So I just changed how I say it. At the store, what do you like, steak or chicken?
There you go. Everybody does that.
It's not wrong. Oh, okay. Okay. I thought it was just me.
No, because sometimes I'll think of a word and I'm like, is this the right context? And then I won't be able to spell it, and I'll just be like, you know what? Forget it. I'll use more direct action instead of being fancy in the vocabulary.
Ooh, he fancy. Boom. Game on. Is that right?
Game on.
Over there.
You were speaking about your stalker story, which is funny, especially because it's a dude, And
it's also not my only stalker story. That's right.
Dudes get stalked by other dudes, It doesn't get talked about though. When I was in the Army,
there's no movement.
When I was in the Army, I had a stalker, which was another service member. Like we were doing some training exercise, right? And I work with like radios and antennas and stuff. That's what I did. So he was there too because he was like in the same job field, different unit. And I'm in the smoke pit, chilling. He starts talking to me. I'm like, oh, okay, cool dude. I was like, yeah, here's my number. If you want to like go to the bar, grab a beer, whatever,
right.
Just
call me.
Yeah,
bro.
Then he starts texting me about his wife and all his problems, and then how he's never been with a man before. And I'm like, I've never been with a fucking man before either. But like, he's like, I want my first time to be with you. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
All because you gave him his number?
Yeah, I was just like,
to like go grab some wings.
Yeah, and he was just like, hey, he texted me, I'm outside your barracks. I'm like, dude,
if you know what I mean.
I was like, dude, if you come, I'm not telling you my fucking room number. Get the fuck away from me. So I was talking to my
dude. How homophobic do you sound right now on this? You're like, out.
No, he was trying to have sex with me.
Oh, I see. So you were also in danger.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
see how I'm victim blaming. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
But it was okay though because one of my other homies,
That's crazy, though. That's awkward.
That I worked with. He's gay. He was in the... So I was like, dude, there's this guy. He wants to be gay, or have his first time with somebody. Mm-hmm. Here's his number. He's like, all right, got him. So he invited that dude over to his barracks. He's like, so what do you want to do?
What up, bro?
And the dude was like, never mind. And then bolted. I was like...
Did you want to hear a funny gay dude story?
Yeah.
All right. So when I was in high school, I worked at a movie theater, and it was like a sitcom. Me, that's kind of like the punk rock skater kid, that obnoxious version of, suburbia. There was a militant black lady that ran the box, the ticket box. A really, really old lady that I'm not sure what she did. She was just kind of was around. A real fiery, redheaded, heavy lady that was our manager. And a guy that was trying to be like an actor / comedian that was like the general manager, place wore a diamond earring all the time.
Man, this sounds like a sitcom.
Dude. Oh, and Corey, that was of not attractive, extremely feminine homosexual gentleman who, for some reason, he was very complected, like very pale, but like his hair was dark. So he had a 5 o'clock shadow immediately from shaving.
Okay.
So, good on the dude for living his life, thinking, being what he wants to be, follow his heart. I respect it. I support him in his happiness. Was not an attractive lady. I don't know how else to say it. But on occasion, very goth too, by the way. Very, very goth. Only White and Black, The Cure, Susie and Banshees.
Okay.
He told me he was gay. The way he came out to me one day is I was in the back making popcorn, and he showed me a sketchbook, and he knew that I was an artist even then. And I was thumbing through, and it was just all of these photos of Madonna. I'm talking like probably 50 pages deep of just Madonna photos.
Wow.
Various era Madonna, because this is the late 90s, mid-90s. But various Madonna eras. And then it's just progressively was like dudes like making out, or some of them were a little more aggressive than that. And I was like, well, cool. And he's like, well, what do you think? And I was like,
turn to page 69.
Dude, thank you. Artistically, I was like, well, it's great. He's like, well, no, about the subject. I was like, if you're talking about being gay, bro, everybody knows that you're gay. And no one cares. Let's just keep it pushing, whatever. This is a minimum wage movie theater job that we're only here to get free movies and free movies for our families, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway, on occasion, older ladies would bring their grandkids in to see whatever movies we had playing and would confuse him for a lady, dude, and he would just relish in the like attention as being a woman. That was his goal. But I never understood why we wouldn't shave his beard. Whatever. Again, who knows? Whatever. Now, jump years later, I would still see. This is a little small town in suburban Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a little town called Statesville. I would still see Corey. There's no issues with naming of this kind of stuff. No. All right, cool. I would still see Corey all over town. Small town. He was one of a handful of. I hate to say it this way, but I mean, token gay guys in town, right? Lived it. Did not care what anyone else thought about him. Full blown.
Everybody's been a token.
Something
in their life, you know, like I'll be the token black guy at like a punk rock concert, but hey, but
are you black?
I'm mixed. I'm half and half, All
right.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that later?
Yeah.
I'm interested in that.
Let's do it.
Pound it again. We're getting into that. That'll be our theme tonight too.
Yeah. Yeah, I made it.
So Corey, years after we worked together at the theater, I ran into him. He was working at a Kmart. You've been at a Kmart, right?
Yeah.
He was doing something, and we ran into each other. He was so stoked to see me, and I noticed on his name tag that he had changed his name to Corey with an I from a Y.
Okay.
Was wearing like a little trainer bra and was in transition. Is what I'm basically getting
making the moves.
Yeah. Whatever. Good for him. That's something he had talked about back in the day. Forever saving up money. I'm gonna be somebody else. Okay. Whatever. See each other. Catch up, how's life, what's going on with you, back and forth. He had recognized her, Corey would prefer she. Corey was talking about, how's your kid? At that time I only had my daughter, I hadn't had my son yet. Life, catching up on things from what we see each other from time to time. We're not necessarily, BFFs, but that's...
I mean, you're cool,
nice person. Yeah.
You suffered through popping popcorn together.
Exactly. So we go to leave, and I give her a hug, goodbye. And when I'm at the door, I'm wearing a navy blue shirt, and I realize, oh no, I have this makeup, like powder, this makeup dust on my shirt. how am I going to tell my wife, oh, I've got this makeup on my shirt, and it's from a dude. It's from a dude. Thankfully, she knew Corey too, so it was okay. But that's so funny. And the connectivity of like my instant was like, oh man, why would that matter? But I guess it mattered at the time. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anytime you have makeup on you and you're going home, like
it's interesting.
So
or glitter.
Yeah, or glitter.
It's hard for a grown man to say, no, I was doing crafts. I paint with a lot of glitter.
Yeah. Sometimes the truth sounds like a lie. So in a lie, I mean,
no, honey.
No, I was with I saw my friend Corey who was transitioning. That's my makeup. I
was doing arts and crafts with the smell of vanilla and glitter.
No, I was with a woman.
Yeah, there you go.
It's easier to explain.
Dude, so half black, half white in a punk rock world.
Yeah.
Not a lot of black dude. Like, so we're a little different in age. I'm quite a bit older than you, I would imagine. I'm 43. So.
I'm 32.
Okay. Not a lot of... I had one or two, like, black guy homies in the punk rock scene in my town.
Dude.
Skateboarding and punk rock concluded. And somewhere it feels like in the late 90s, hip-hop started becoming acceptable in the crossover between hip-hop and punk rock and skateboarding. And it became a hodgepodge then. But there was very few black guys in it. Which bizarre.
It was weird. So, like, when I moved to California when I was around 11, you know.
Where in California?
Riverside, San Bernardino,
so east
Colton
of LA.
area. Yeah.
Inland Empire?
Yes, the Inland Empire. Okay. And, you know, that's back when, you know, System of a Down, all of them, like, that was really big.
Sure.
And in California at that time.
Those guys are Armenian or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Like rock and all that stuff, like all about it. But it's like, you know, it was very, you know, open there, you know. But I was still like the only like black dude, but it didn't really matter. And then
Dude, with a different hat, you could be Tom Morello for Halloween.
I could.
Or any other day.
If only I knew how to play guitar.
The dude rips.
Yeah. And I moved back to Florida, but then like people, like I had like long flowing black hair, you know,
cool.
But then people thought I was like a girl, and they caught like, cause I guess I, you know, very prepubescent. So then
very soft looking.
Yeah. Then I shaved my head. I was like, nope.
Sure.
And, but trying to, oh, here we go.
Whoa. I was not expecting this beast.
Me either.
What's happening? Yes.
Yeah. Oh, what are you doing here, dude? Yeah.
So how did you end up in Florida from California?
My dad remarried my mom, and then like the Dirty South scene was happening, you know, with rap and stuff. But then like everyone kept making fun of me because I liked, you know, I like rap, but I like punk rock and like all that stuff more. So it was like crazy being like get made fun of a lot, especially when, you know, I'm like tall, gangly, trying to get like the right jeans and stuff.
What, 13, 14?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then
brutal.
Middle school to like 10th grade, like was just like, you know.
Were you insecure because of it? Or did you even notice it then?
I was just like, well, I just knew. I was like, well, I don't like what you guys are doing, you know, trying to be who you are, so I'm not going to be in that circle. But I got like I felt more like, I guess, quote unquote, like racism from like the black community because
you weren't black enough to be.
Yeah, I wasn't black enough. Yeah, so I was just like, what do I do? But then I was just like, fuck it. I am who
Fair
I am.
enough. I feel like that's the right response.
Yeah, you know, you get your good group of people who don't care what you do or who you are, then you just live your life.
Mm-hmm. I back that.
Yeah, you know,
I make a point that I don't know if I did it. I'm gonna say that I did it on purpose. I don't know that that's fact, but I hope so, and it feels like it. And everyone in my life, on a personal, like a deep, like my inner circle of friends, every single one of them are creative. Mm-hmm. Various, wide ranges of music to photography to, all sorts of different arts. But every single person is creative, and most all of them are, I use the term successful in reference to it. So it's fun. So it keeps you challenged and excited, and it keeps it sparked.
Yeah.
So that's fun. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a transition from, I guess, being youthful. I grew up skateboarding, and I made a point, and I don't know where I learned this. I'm certainly not smart enough to have come up with this on my own. But I made a point to anyone that I skated with, I made sure that I was around dudes that were better than me.
Mm-hmm.
Because that challenged me to get better.
Yeah.
And along the way, you meet guys, you meet homies at the whatever you're skating or whatever you're doing that you can help learn. So if you're in the middle, then your ego's checked. You know what I mean? That works in friendships, and I like knowing more than you about something and being able to share that input. But when I'm finished spewing off, or hopefully helping, I want to learn something from you and gain. So friendships work that way. Maybe that came from something social as a kid. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like I know I try not to see race like at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I like you like what you like. It doesn't matter. It's like, why does it have to be this way? I remember seeing it at a concert. Someone was like, another black guy. Like, and I was like, all right, yeah, come here. But I'm like, it doesn't have to be this way.
Sure.
We can all mosh together.
All mosh together.
But it's just one of those things. Hopefully, it'll be in the past now. I feel like
Where in Florida
opening
was this?
Fort Walton Beach, the Panhandle.
Okay. So I'm trying to think in relation to punk rock and also a black guy being exposed to punk rock. I don't think Fort Walton Beach is like the mecca of.
No, I got most. So my mother and stuff, was a big.
Have you seen the
90s Motley Crue and stuff?
Side note: have you seen the documentary Death?
No.
Because if we're talking black guy, punk rock music, we're not talking the same era punk rock. But so, fun fact: if you go in introduction to punk rock music, say 77, some say that whole British Sex Pistols, all of that, the Clash, all of that world. Mm-hmm. Some say the Ramones, New York Dolls, whatever, New York City. 77, right, is punk rock, where it started.
Yep.
There's a documentary about a band called Death, and I don't want to tell too much to you or to who is listening or watching this that might be interested. It's dope, and it's about a band of black guys, brothers, cousins, whatever the family dynamic was. 1973 in Detroit, Michigan. Dude.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
It's so good. So good. You could probably just YouTube it or something.
Yeah.
But it's rad. But anyway, punk rock, black guys.
Yep.
A crazy, crazy story of how they get there. Just watch it, dude.
I will.
Watch it. Text me.
I will.
There'll be a part 2 where we'll just talk about documentaries.
Man, I love documentaries. Yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay. All right.
What was the last documentary you watched?
Oh, man. Last documentary. Good documentary or just last one? I watched.
Well, I guess that's the last one and then the best one that you are.
The last documentary I watched was called, it's spelled out, 1994. And it was about the punk rock wave. What would it be? Maybe third wave of punk rock. You have the 70s that I just mentioned. Mm-hmm. Then you have like the 80s hardcore, like Black Flag,
yep.
Bad Brains, Circle Jerks, early Descendants stuff of the West Coast. You have all of that. And then the 90s was a whole nother wave of SoCal punk rock and NorCal punk rock, Lookout Records, Fat Records, all of that in 94. So the last documentary I watched was called 1994. It was about that push, which is funny because punk rock music shaping my life, completely putting me on my ear. Around 94 is when I got punched in the face with it. It was NoFX, Punk and Drublick. My mom won't watch it. I skipped school and went and bought. So the first punk rock I ever bought was a Lookout Records band from the Bay Area called Operation Ivy, which is 2 dudes that are now in Rancid. This is their first band. I'm not a ska guy, but they're like a ska punk band. I remember like it was yesterday. My homie Mike Marks was like, "Dude, this is gonna change your life." Side A was the Riverdales, I think. I'm not some other punk rock band, and side B was Op Ivy. It's like like a bootleg 4 or 5 songs off of the record. Just
here you go.
Yeah, here's a garbage recording of a poor quality recording anyway. So, Op Ivy, maybe 6 months to a year later, it might have been the next school year. I skipped school and bought NoFX, Punk and Drublic, and Face to Face, Big Choice, which are 2 very pivotal records in this whole 1994 era or documentary. So it fits perfectly and all that, and there was no looking back. Everything in my life was that whole punk rock double time, drumming and, no real room for deep melody, just fast and aggressive. And I had to go back and listen to a lot of music, like Nirvana, which I think is rad. Now I love Nirvana music now. But when it was breaking big, and what was that, 92 was when Teen Spirit came out?
Yeah.
92, 94? I don't remember.
The same time that
but when that
hair metal was dying.
Yeah, that's cool. And I love the story of how that art shifting gears and the philosophies. That's cool. Because keep in mind, previous to this punk rock, anything before that was aggressive to me was like Guns N' Roses. Or it was still radio accessible. It was still pop music.
Yeah.
Before that was hair metal, Poison or Bon Jovi. The stuff
that era is like when you listen to that music, like they were all like about really having like a good time.
Well, listen, for me, I was a kid.
There's some ice in there if you want some ice.
So I was a kid, so I didn't know any better, and I didn't know anything about art. I didn't know anything about the expression. I knew, so rock and roll, I knew inherently is rebellious.
Yep.
Well, my dad's a Southern Baptist pastor. So I knew that this music was rebellious just by nature because it made no sense. They're cartoons. So this is what I'm going to be into because it's rebellious. That kind of surface level attitude of just this is whatever it is, and the timing of this punk rock when I'm deep into skateboarding and deep into that, the cultures all made sense together. I keep spilling this all over me like I'm a party. Crazy. Anyway,
well, it is a party,
right?
Yeah,
we are partying. Anyway, so all of that, the punk rock stuff just made sense. But I had to go back to like this Nirvana breaking and think with the different, because people were going on and on and on about how heavy it was. I was like, what? This is not everything in my catalog of music that I was listening to, or my record collection, was as fast as you could imagine.
Yeah.
I was
fast and loud.
I was associating heavy with fast, or fast with heavy, and it's not the same at all.
Right.
The expression of heavy, the energy of punk rock, the attitude, most specifically, of punk rock, has nothing to do with how fast it is. It's what's being said, the expression. So I had to go back and listen to a lot of great tunes that my whole teenage years, late 90s or whatever, of this punk rock.
Yeah, my formative years was
punk rock is, we're fighting against the elitism. Meanwhile, we're being the most elitist snobs you can imagine.
Yeah, gatekeepers too.
Right. Dude, you don't know the records I know, bro. Yeah. I thought it was the coolest thing for the longest time that in my town of Statesville that I had the Blink-182 Cheshire Cat record. How many years before they broke as the biggest band ever? And I thought I was the coolest guy ever. That could say, I've been listening to that band for like 8 years before.
You don't know.
You don't know
what I know.
You don't know what I don't even like Tom DeLonge's voice, but I was like, you don't know what I know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I knew them before they were cool. That's when you could say
Rancid, and Op Ivy, bro. Op Ivy, bro. Come on.
You're not real punk rock.
Right.
And that's what that you're saying. Okay.
Hey, I have a friend. Speaking of real punk rock, I have a friend, I won't say his name, back home, that would legitimately, if he saw a dude wearing, or a teenage kid wearing a Dead Kennedys, like the DK t-shirt, or a Misfits t-shirt, or a Ramones t-shirt, he'd pull up on him and say, hey, name 2 Ramones songs. Name 2 Clash songs. Why are you wearing the shirt? He's like, my life's not your fashion, homie. And I'm like, so aggressive about a band, right? But this was about it.
Yeah, some people feel some like type of ownership. Like,
I guess.
They didn't make the music.
Now, I love the Rolling Stones, and they sell Stone shirt. My daughter could not be any more preppy than anything. Well, and I saw her this weekend in a Rolling Stones t-shirt. She has no idea what the Rolling Stones are, I promise you. But she saw that in some sort of a pop culture thing, and it was at Old Navy. Or maybe Target.
Or Target. Yeah, I was going to say Target.
So it's like, come on. I remember as a kid, in reference to fashion, and we've bounced all over the place. Sorry for that. Or sorry to whoever's watching.
Your episode, your show.
Perfect. Vans, shoes. When I was growing up in the skateboard culture, you recognized your tribe. You recognized your homies. You recognized you could identify with that dude from across the lunchroom because he was wearing a pair of Vans.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah, we're skaters. We have something that these people don't have. You got to look closer, and if his Vans were too clean, oh, he's a poser. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a poser.
God,
if he had duct tape or some shoe goo, I think was a thing, or they were just a little busted and tattered, oh, he knows what's up.
Well, yeah, I've seen people who, when they would buy Chucks, if they were clean, they would just like stomp in the dirt, so that they wouldn't be called out or anything.
Yeah. Why is that? That's a weird thing,
isn't it? Like,
but
Chucks have to be dirty.
But culturally, though, the Vans, the skateboard thing, to me though, it was like it's you can buy Vans at Kohl's.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, no disrespect to Kohl's, I guess, but what's rock and roll about Kohl's? What's punk rock? What's skateboarding? What's
Yeah. Well, I mean, even it goes back to skating. It's like, oh, you have an Alien Workshop board? Oh, those aren't King trucks?
Oh, yeah. You have to be specific about it. We dealt with I guess a society or a culture of it where it was cool to not have any graphics at all on your board, and you just bought straight blank boards from generic companies. No, I'm not repping Powell. I'm not repping Blonde, or I'm just going to do this, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was younger, it's so ridiculous, I was like, I don't have the trucks that everybody else has. What am I can't skate like they can.
Were you good at skating?
Nah, like, I had good balance. I could do some ollies and a heel flip, but that was about it.
Okay. And this was in Florida?
That was in California.
Okay. So let's circle back. You moved from California to Florida at what age?
10, 11.
What part of Florida?
Fort Walton Beach.
So we said that.
Yep.
So I moved from Georgia to North Carolina in 94, and it was early high school. So I was trying to make the connection of when you would move, adolescence, what age.
Yeah. So we're talking about 2000. 2001.
Yeah, okay. I was.
You was what?
Well, I'm just trying to think. My life was much different in 2000 than yours.
It's because you talk about the punk wave and stuff that you were going through. When I like 05, it's like let's say 03. That's when like the emo scene phase hit, and I was just like,
do you know? I just brought up Blink, which I don't. I've not really gotten into any Blink records in many years, which is in what I'm about to say to you. I worked with a guy. We tattooed up beside each other. One of his favorite bands was Blink. And when he would talk about Blink 182 and I would talk about the band Blink 182, it was almost like we were talking about different bands. I like the Dong Joke, Goofy. That's Blink to me.
Yeah.
Those early days. He's like, like Suicide Songs and like.
I remember the one album I really remember is Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Yeah. Anything after that, I don't recall ever paying attention to at all. I love like early Green Day. Green Day's early records.
Dookie.
Before that, Kerplunk, Slappy Hours. The two records. Dookie was a great record.
Yeah.
So any of that was really cool. What was the next one? Nimrod was pretty good, but yeah. Are you familiar with a record label called Fat Records or like Epitaph Records?
Epitaph, yeah.
It would have been like Southern California Records, Bad Religion, Lagwagon, just a ton of records. If I listened to it, it was on one of those labels for the longest time. And then I hit this weirdest wave of I got really into like Swedish.
Like Swedish death metal?
Not death metal. I've never been into that, but like punk rock bands.
Okay.
There's a band called Satanic Surfers that I thought was cool. And
there's one Swedish band that I really loved, Children of Bodom. That was
that's metal though, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know anything.
It was so like because they were just so melodic with it too. I was just like,
The instrumentation, like the craftsmanship of good metal is.
Yeah. Like listening to them.
It's almost like orchestrated.
Yeah. It was like the audio version of math, like calculus, to me. Because I'm just like, I'm blown.
Yep. What kind of music do you like? What kind of music do you listen to most often?
Everything. I mean, I don't mean to say that facetiously. It just depends on the mood that I'm in, you know? Like if I'm like trying to like study or like concentrate on something, I'll listen to like nothing with lyrics. So I'll listen to like some type of like electronic music or very lo-fi chill
I like
music.
Foreign music. For me specifically, it seems to be French music. I'm not sure why, other than just whatever.
Because it's just a romance language. It's very smooth.
I don't speak a word of French. So if I'm doing something, drawing, painting, I'm a painting stuff. I mostly listen to Radiohead when I paint. But if just whatever, something abstract, I'm tattooing. It's just emailing, preparing for work. I can put it on, and the language, the lyrical content of a French song, I don't know what's going on. So it's another instrument fully to me. So that's kind of fun. But you can still feel the energy of, a happy song and a sad song because a minor chord or, so you get that. That's fun.
If I'm feeling amped, I gotta go back to the metal, and all that stuff. Like I need to be in it, And then for some reason I got into like Japanese city pop, like 80s, like type of, it's smooth.
Like synthy stuff?
It's not really synthy.
Like you're listening to a video game?
Yeah, it's like listening to something in a coffee shop type.
Give me some names of some groups.
I can't because they're Japanese and I don't remember them. So
how do you find it?
There's this channel on YouTube, right? I'll put it in the description for people, but they literally just put on records like live and then just like play them for hours, and I'm just like, that's a good song. And then YouTube, because it's smarter than us, will put that in the algorithm and just feed it to me. So then I just keep listening to it.
Okay. I mean, that's cool. Again, that's the new way, right?
Man, sometimes I'll just say play music, and then whatever comes on.
All right.
What do you find yourself listening to lately outside of just like French music?
Oh, that's not. That's the album. I would not even try and pretend that I'm that pretentious guy. Bro, I'm only into French music. No, that's sometimes. The rock and roll moon rides and sets on the Rolling Stones. So for me, attitude is important to music, which is punk rock and roll, hip hop music, whatever. If it has an attitude of truth, an attitude of of
I don't want to say genuine, but like something
the authenticity or real, something's being said.
Well, you can tell like when someone's really trying to say something, and then what's corporate like push.
This will help, and maybe it'll help him sell some records. Who knows? We both know Rowdy. One of my closest and dearest friends. I know you've had him on your podcast.
I love him
in times past. I don't like country music at all.
Yeah.
Nothing about that style of music. Sonically, the play in writing, kind of the bantering, kind of the cheesiness, the pop. And I'm really more talking about the pop country, I would say. Well, I don't like that at all.
There's
nothing about that speaks to me.
There's a difference between like, I feel like what my grandpa like put me on, like Johnny Cash,
like or even go 90s, some of the 90s, like Clint Black and some of the stuff that I know nothing about, but I remember.
There's a difference between like country and then like rhinestone country.
Well, here's what I'm getting at though. I don't know anything about it, which is why it's not familiar, which is why I don't gravitate towards that type of music.
Right.
I know Rowdy. I have known him for teens of years on a deep, personal, intimate level. We joke all the time. We've had a conversation, him, Gillespie, and Gage, Daisy Mae, and I. We've been friends for so long, we know each other's first wives. It's kind of a going joke that we have, which is unfortunate, but whatever. The point being, I don't like country music at all. I love Rowdy. One of my favorite artists, one of my favorite bits of music to hear, because I know there's a truth behind what's being said.
Yeah.
There's something real with the three chords and the truth. The Stones, the three chords and the truth, just They didn't set out to be rock stars. They set out to be the best blues band in London, which got a chance to come to the States. And all they wanted to do is introduce the States back to blues music and roots, black music, going back to race that we talked about earlier. That was the only goal. There's an authenticity. There's a pureness to, here's my flaws, here's my mistakes, here's my whatever, warts and all. This is me, and this is the art that I make, because I'm only interested in the art, the craftsmanship, the realness, the soul.
Yeah.
So if it's hip hop that I listen to, it needs to shape the mood. I'm a Southern guy, so I Outcast or some of that stuff I naturally gravitate towards.
I know. I wish they would come out with another record.
Right. Punk rock, so any kind of rock and roll that I really lean into is a derivative of some sort of punk rock thing. I do have a space in my heart for like the Wallflowers and that kind of just driving rock and roll music, but it just depends. When I paint, I listen to Radiohead because I like ambient, kind of space airy music that makes me feel that way.
You're an amalgamation of your experiences within that music. Always is in like a specific period of your life too. I'm the 43-year-old dude that's stuck in his like late 90s, early 2000s punk rock and whatever variation of that. Solidarity, brother.
But here's what's interesting. I'm that punk rock guy. That's my heart space. That's my leaning. I also listen to music all day, every day. Mm-hmm. My wife is not really interested in that kind of music. And at the time, at the house, when we're cooking dinner, we're starting to relax, we're sitting on the back porch, just kind of, getting heads together, we're vibing, whatever. That is not time for that kind of music.
Yeah.
My tattooing, you're in a sort of, intimate, painful, an intense, lasting situation that's happening. And I have a tendency my work leans into floral patterns or botanical things, flowers, a lot, flowers. So it didn't really make it didn't make much sense to listen to like double time punk rock or this aggressive based energy.
Yeah,
as I'm tattooing a flower, on a flower.
You're listening to something in the major key when you're painting something in the minor.
Hey, I'm telling a sad story. Mm-hmm. So what do? So that's kind of the benefit of letting the client pick the music. And I'm getting a bit of the musical knowledge every single day by letting them pick too, because then I'm learning their music.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, so you like this? Oh, well, check this out. Or you'll probably be into this band or whatever. So it's fun.
I know you don't really like to look at like art too much, like as like an inspiration for anything. But is there any type of like art that like really speaks to you, like when you look at it, like some like darker tones or the more of the brighter type abstract paintings? Like, what is it for you?
I don't mood, I think. I like mood. I like the mood of art. I like the storytelling through, well, they can't see this, but like this poster that you have here, it's very simple. It's just red and blue, but it's the variations of both. So it's simple. That's a bit more of a challenge than throwing a whole bunch of colors, and it's easy to make something exciting if you have every color and every variation of that color in the palette. Yeah. Or on the canvas.
Because your eyes don't really concentrate. It's just like, hey, it's there.
Yeah, that's a party. That's a visual party automatically. Well, you lose some of the story probably in that. So I like to look at, which I probably naturally, just by osmosis, I replicate wanting to do like a less is more. I'm trying to do how much can I get out of blue? How much can I get out of green? How much can I get out of red? And whatever the mood is. Obviously, I'm not going to tell a sad story using the color red. I'll tell an angry story. I'll tell a passionate story. But obviously, we're going to use some blues or some grays or some whatever. So there's obvious, but then there's the left and right leanings of obvious to make it more interesting.
And when you're tattooing, and you're doing the contemporary style that you do, how do you manage to balance? Because like those colors that you do, they pop and they're very, like, they're not your just like hard colors. There's like some mixture of like probably like blues and grays, and how do you? And the clients, they trust you with the tattoo. You know, saying
Sure,
like
sure.
do they usually give you like the general idea of what they want?
So I'm extremely rigid in my process, which then allows us to be extremely creative and free and expressive and open during the tattoo. For instance, and I'm not sure if I'm outing myself or if this is if people even care. I'm not sure. I don't use reference when I tattoo. It's almost always, from my head, more importantly from my heart to the client, which sounds like a sales pitch, I know, but it's genuine. I care about what I'm doing, the story that we're telling. I'm thankful that I lose myself daily in someone else's story multiple hours at a time. We're commemorating, we're commiserating, we're celebrating, we're honoring, we're whatever's happening, I'm telling your story.
Mm-hmm.
What I honestly do, and maybe I should give credit more to the client than I get the credit for, is I let the client pick the color, and the reason I do is because, I have a email blanket. It's like a list of what size the tattoo, where's it going, how big, so I know half day appointment, full day appointment, what the image is. They give me the detailed information. I ask for a image reference of what got them. Why do you like my art? And it's
right.
I get to plagiarize myself. It's kind of a joke. I don't know what that means, but Anyway, so that being said, I dig into the story. I read the email. I read the information. Sometimes I have to read between the lines. Sometimes it's very specific. I want this thing. Then I have to find a way to be like, well, we'll do a version of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends. No day is the same in that regard. But in telling the story, I do and this is getting sidetracked from the color, but I'll tell you the whole process, then the color. I know this is the hard line stencil image that I'm going to have. Then there's like a color swashing that I do a lot with, just color bombing. It's just a burst of color, low light, high light, whatever. Hot, warm, cool, dark, depending on seasonal. Sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's an energy. Whatever. There's a story that's being told, and then there's a pattern that's added to it a lot of times. That's like a third party that I add as a stencil later. That's not. None of that's necessarily. It's thought through earlier on, but it's prepared in the moment and planned and kind of vibey.
Yeah.
It fits the muscle tone. So storytelling, but it also has to make sense on the body. So all that happens, and I have kind of my idea of doing that, and I'm very, very thankful that I've been style specific long enough that clients are like, well, yeah, do your thing. I picked you because I like you. I like what you do.
How long have you been doing the contemporary style for?
9 years.
9 years? Okay.
I moved to Nashville from North Carolina to be style specific, and it's been kind of my thing out of the gate.
What do they do more in North Carolina? Like more like Americana type, like heavy dark lines?
Yeah. There's still, I'm sure there's some contemporary guys in the area. There's not a lot of creative cities in North Carolina, but there are some, and you can find work. All of that being said, I ask the client, what color do you want this in? Do you have any colors that you want to absolutely avoid? What colors do you really want to lean into? And what I do is I ask them to pick a warm color or a cool color. And then I do variants of that color. I go up a notch or down a notch. Like if it's red, we'll go like hot pink and burgundy. Or, something of that version. And then there's a few little tricks of how I get the color blending and stuff. I'd be an irresponsible businessman if I told you how to do that on a podcast.
What I found really interesting, yeah, of course, it's for you. And the one really interesting tattoo that I've seen is when you did maybe a month or so, the blackout tattoo.
Oh yeah. Those are interesting, man. People have strong opinions about those too.
Yeah.
Which, how weird is that I am very much a color guy. It's no nonsense. It's I either do a color tattoo full blown, or it's just black, just a blackout. The tattoo I did today was just a black, light power to the people fist with some red around it, some orange. And we tricked it out, some some fun stuff.
Well, the one that was fully blacked out was pretty dope because it actually had outlines of trees,
so it's black to a tree line, and then a lime green kind of haze, and then black, and we haven't finished it yet. But it'll fade to a purple into a hot pink kind of vibe. But everything for the most, and it's a cover up. It's a full sleeve cover up. It's just a challenge. That's tricky. So it's not, you're not just hitting fresh skin with ink. You're working with scar tissue and the consistency of ink, and It's a trip.
How does that work? Or I don't want you to have to give away your secrets.
Just close your eyes and go for it.
Okay.
You just close your eyes and go for it.
Is it? I'm not saying it's easier or anything, but like you're covering up tattoos with all black. It's just like, is black just easier to just drown out any type of like color?
Pigment particles are heavier. That's about as scientific as I get or I know about tattooing. But the pigment particles are going to be bigger, heavier, which is going to cover up the existing ink. The trick is in a cover up, if you're working with an older tattoo that's less quality or it's been hit a little too hard and it scars, then you're just going to puff that scar up right up underneath it. So you're not covering it up. You're really just putting like neon arrows saying, hey, look at this. Yeah. It's just a trip. They're hard, man. It's really hard to do.
Yeah. So how long in total have you been tattooing?
2006. So what is that? Is that 15 years?
I'm going to say yes because I don't feel like doing math right now, but that
Okay.
sounds good.
Fair enough.
And
Yeah, 15.
you about to do it?
No. No. I think that's 15. Is that 14? I don't want to do the math.
Now I got it.
I don't want to do the math. I trust you.
All right, well, we'll go with 15 years.
A long time.
Yeah, a long time.
I have a poster on the wall in my studio that says something about working and doing what you love. It's not a day of work.
Right.
Whatever. It's a cliche statement, but it's a true statement. And for me, that is the joke that I make, but it's a very, very true statement. Is I've been, tattooing long enough, and I've put myself in a situation where I hope I never have to work anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love what I do. It's a lot of fun.
Man, I'm
I
jealous.
love people, so
Yeah.
I get to hang with. Dude, today I tattooed a nutritionist. He has his PhD in like health science and all of these nutritional facts about all the stuff that you're getting out of all these foods. And tomorrow I'm tattooing a studio engineer. Saturday I'm tattooing a girl that works in like fashion retail that's coming up from Atlanta. So like, every day it's a different. It's cool.
Yes, it's not the same corporate
I like to believe. Yeah,
grind.
I have rock star clients and I have banker clients. I have dog breeder clients and I have car salesman clients. So it's fun. I like to feel like that my style of work, certainly my clientele, leans into a creative, creative thinking people. So that's fun.
Speaking of rock stars, I mean, like you deal with a lot of them. And it's when you were like apprenticing and everything. What came to your mind? We're like, no, I'm gonna go on the road with a band, and I'm gonna start just tattooing people in bands on the road with them.
That's being a fun hang. I don't think that had anything to do with tattooing, honestly. I think it had to do with being a fun hang. And I don't know if I'm talking egotistical or not, but I was an apprentice tattooing, so who wanted my tattoos? I just was very fortunate that because I came from like the band world, the rock and roll world, the touring world, doing that thing that, and I guess if we're talking name dropping or talking specifically, like Under Oath, would have me out to come just tattoo, but if really come hang.
Yeah.
And if you meet, you've been to a rock and roll show before. You've been to a punk rock a tour. Yeah. For every headline band, there's 3 support bands, and in that they want tattooed also. So then you meet those connections, and you go out with Under Oath, and you meet Thursday. You go take them back Sunday. You go take them back Sunday. Meet the U's. Trickle down effect of that spider webbing of bands. You work with each one of their merch guys or their guitar techs or whatever. Or if he's home from taking back Sunday, he's out with the U's. Or if he's out with the U's and he's out with this. So there's still an opportunity for that connectivity. Some of it is tattooing a punk rock. It's a hand in glove and it works perfectly. Some of it's being a fun hang. I don't know. That was my lane. So I've always leaned into that. I came into the tattoo world because I thought that would be a way I could supplement my income when I toured with my band.
So you were in a band too?
Yeah, I'm a much better visual artist than I am a musician. But for me, that's what I thought I could do.
What'd you play?
Well, I dabble. I'm a drummer. I play at the bass. I play at the guitar power chords. Here, put a bridge in the choruses. Here's how it works. Statesville, North Carolina, Metro Charlotte. I'm a tattooer that plays music.
Okay.
Nashville, Tennessee, I'm a tattooer that owns instruments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I respect my surroundings and who does what in my area, and so that's how it's played out, which is a joke. But
Hey.
all that being said, no, I started tattooing though because I thought that was a way in for me to have this as an income to still be able to tour and play music and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it took the juggling of both and me really getting into it and realize, oh man, this band, I can't wait for this band to break up and it not be my fault.
Right, you're just waiting for the writing on the wall.
Yeah, because I was already the visual artist of my friend group back in the day. I designed skateboard graphics. I was getting tattooed, and I was one of the early homies that was getting tattooed. So I started designing tattoos for my other buddies. I was designing my own tattoo art with the understanding of, hey, go to Lucky 13 in Mooresville, North Carolina. That's where I apprenticed. Shout out Rob Dade.
Shout out.
I'm sure he's listening to this. But anyway, we had that connection. So I was the visual artist. If you're a band, and there was a crew of us, a group of us, that we skateboarded and we played in bands. That was kind of our deal. And there was a few of us that was touring and really going outside of North Carolina or outside of our town and really kind of doing it. Well, I was designing your merch, your record art, your merch laminates, your posters, your T-shirts, your stickers, that kind of stuff. So I already had that identity. So when I started tattooing, it was just, as an apprentice, dude, I had every best friend you could imagine making money, or excuse me, not making money, but making art, doing tattoos like crazy, until I started tattooing for a living professionally. That's gonna.
What style were you doing back then?
Oh, dude, whatever.
Whatever. Hey,
I was doing the style that's paying the light.
The hell yeah.
I was paying bills. Still today, I make reference to this, and it's factual, but it's funny. But some days I'm making a paycheck. Some days I'm making a piece of art. Some days I'm establishing a relationship. And all three work. Mm-hmm. And all three are important. They're equally valuable.
Yeah. They all pay off with each other. And that's pretty rad. And, speaking of Rowdy, awesome dude. He trusts you so much that he let you tattoo Chipper on the back of his neck.
Oh, did he tell you that?
I saw the IG picture.
Oh, did he show that?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. He said, just go ahead and freehand it. I'm like, what? He's like, dude, I got to have you on me. I was like, all right, let's get it. So we did it.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like,
wild.
Yeah, I was like, that was wild. Yeah. And then the tattoo was like an anaconda.
It's a rattlesnake.
Rattlesnake.
It's a rattlesnake around his neck, and like a bolo tie.
And then I saw that, and I was like, man, that's not the usual artwork that I see Chipper do. Because I was like, that's love. You don't know.
Yeah. It's. Man, that's something special. A rattlesnake around your neck, and then my name.
Yeah. That is wild.
That's pressure. I have to maintain a good level of friendship. So he and we've been friends though. So honest to God, and I figured this up the other day when they were in town recording their record, and so my studio where I tattoo is less than half the mile from where they were cutting their record. So it made sense for all of those guys wanted to come and get the record tattoo, or the slinger, as they would call it, the slinger tattoo. And Gillespie and I got to talking. Aaron, that is, who was producing part of the record. He's probably he is my oldest lasting tattoo client, considering I've tattooed him with probably 3 apprenticeship tattoos. Number 2 is probably Rowdy, because he also has apprenticeship tattoo. We have a couple of bro tattoos that are, I don't mind doing them myself because I'm learning, but if you really want that on your forearm, okay. So yeah, we've been friends for a long time. It's cool.
Tattooing yourself, how is that? Because, I mean, tattoos are not a walk in the park to receive,
No.
So how is that, just like stretching the skin and trying to buzz yourself with the tattoo?
Philosophical, way into it, because it was just my next step into getting a chance to tattoo. And the guy that taught me, again, Rob Dade, I feel like it's the right thing in a respect culture. Tattooing, it should be based on respect. Kind of your apprenticeship, your tutelage, or who you work under is a respect thing. He taught me, well, if you're not going to trust yourself, why would you trust anyone else? Why would you think anyone else is going to trust you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was the philosophy behind it. For me, it was just, well, this is one step. This is one more, step on the ladder of where I'm trying to go. Now I have garbage, dude, from my knee to my crotch. It's just, I have the Saves the Day logo, and it's like a hand cupping a candle. It's like an old graphic, like a sticker. But I put some roses on it and the greenery, like the leafing, and the shading, like black to green shading is so wrong. Like top to bottom, or like the point to the back.
Yeah,
it's dark to light, which I don't even know. Tattooing or not tattooing, I know better than that. What am I doing? But then the humor in it is, why would my mentor in tattooing let me do that and leave it on there? It's just you learn.
Well,
from your mistakes.
yeah.
It's
a visual representation of your mistakes.
The old school way, I guess, of they would, like, some of the old school, like, sailor style, Port City style tattoos. They would intentionally put the flag flying the wrong way, like in the wind, to see if you would catch that, to make the adjustment, or if you're just going to rip off a piece of art to do it on someone else. See how lazy you are. The custom of being. So I guess my mentor, not like I'm some old school guy or whatever, but my mentor let me make these mistakes because, well, I'm glad they're on me and not on you. And I say that to my clients often. Hey, learn some things. Everything I do is on an angle, because my tattoos, and apologizing, I've stroked Rob's ego and I'm going to knock him a bit. All of my stuff on my arm is on a horizontal line, so it's broken up into a bunch of this tattoo, this tattoo, this tattoo, this tattoo. As
almost reads like a book.
There's no flow.
Yeah.
There's no flow at all. So I've learned from my mistake, and I get to show people, hey, here's lettering that's way too small. Hey, here's a horizontal line. Here's a horizontal line. Here's a horizontal line.
Are you sure you want to do this? Because this is how it'll look.
I'm the reflection of, I don't know. It's so hilarious, bro. When I order Postmates, or I'll get dinner, or out a rare mall occasion or something where I'm out and about and someone says, "Oh, dude, I love your tattoos." I'm like,
do you though?
I don't think you do. You love that I have tattoos.
Yes, love the idea of the tattoo.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't love these tattoos. So I bet you don't either. But if you live and learn, it's whatever. It's whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
I love memories, the attachments, the history, the sentiment. When I'm doing blast overs, it has nothing to do, like this PMA tattoo, just kind of a reminder for me that positive mental attitude and keeping that center. Blasting over this, what would have been like a faith-based tattoo, has nothing to do with diminishing the faith underneath it. It's just, well, this is where I'm at right now.
Right. Yeah.
That's how I'm approaching that.
Every one of my tattoos is from a military base, like around a military base. So I'm just
you were Army, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Texas?
Fort Campbell. I was Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So
Kentucky, and that's it?
Mm-hmm.
All
yeah.
right.
Been there. They say, join the army, see the world. I've only seen Afghanistan, so I'm just like, okay.
Join the army, see Kentucky.
Yeah, and everyone, it's like, you get a paycheck. What are you gonna do? Oh, you gotta get a tattoo, bro. You gotta get a tattoo. It's like, well, fuck yeah, I'm gonna get tattoos, because it's like, even back in the day, like going back to music, and like everyone that I idolize, like all the bands, like they're like, I'm like, well, I gotta get fucking I gotta show that I'm metal. I gotta get tattoos.
You have to. That's true. That is true. I'm trying to think of the first person that I saw that was heavily tattooed. I can't remember what it was. I mean, I'm of an era that was still magazines and not the internet tattooing, and looking through the rags and be like, oh, look at these dope tattooers. Mm-hmm. Meeting some of them years later, you're like, good dude.
Yeah. Do you
tattooer, but not a good dude.
Do you go to like conventions and stuff?
No, I don't do that. I do guest spots. There's the place in New York City that I've worked. It's called White Rabbit. It's off of Essex Street in the East Village. And then I work a private studio once, sometimes 2 times a year in Los Angeles, in Koreatown. It's a little private studio. Third Eye Design. Edgar Marquez, a phenomenal tattooer, hosts me there, and that not as much anymore, but over the years, over the longevity, over the legacy of my career, I've done tour work with rock and roll bands. I'll take the back lounge of the tattooer of the bus and convert it into a tattoo studio, and I'll do that. And for me, in the way I like to tattoo, the vibe I like to tattoo, and that's much better than a convention, because a lot of it is you sit there and wait for someone to come up and then you tattoo, or they're price shopping or whatever. And I'm just not into that. I like knowing what I have to do. I like being prepared on some level. I you leave space for creativity.
Yeah.
But I like being prepared, knowing what I'm doing. Most of the bands that I tour with, I've had a running history with it. They'll just text me what they want, text me tour routing, what makes sense. My only deal is, hey, give me a back lounge on the bus, give me a bunk on the bus to sleep in.
Do a lot of tattooers do that?
It's not a real common thing.
Okay.
I'm not the only one. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't have the market corner. But I'm one of few.
If you're going on tour and you need a tattoo,
right.
Chip's the only one.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one that does that.
But they're not even called tattoos when you do them. They're called zips.
I do call them zips.
Yeah.
Funny enough, is referenced from touring. Again, plagiarism. I'm not by any means. I'm sure. I don't know this, but I'm not the only person that's referenced tattoos as zips, I would imagine. But me and a homie of mine, Tucker Rule, who drums in a Thursday, he drums in a band called Frank Aero and the Future Violence. He did some work with a pop band called The Wanted for a while. He worked with the Yellow Card for a while. He's just sort of a gun for hire drummer, but his band is Thursday.
Yeah.
And
which is a good band, and I recommend everyone listen to them.
Phenomenal band. The first band that
also Yellow Card.
The first band I was a straight up fan of before I got a chance to work with them. But I did the 10-year anniversary of Full Collapse, which is just past 20 years. So that was 10 years ago. And somehow we just hit it off really good. We're both small guys. Maybe it was like a Napoleon thing or something. I don't know. But we did the whole like zip and zap tattooing thing. I have tattooed. I have the word zip. He has zap tattooed. It's like a bro, So it just stuck, and I've referred to tattoos as zips. But to the point of I've had clients that reference in the email booking appointment. I want to get that zip style. And I'm like, well, what is that? What is that? But let's do it.
Hell yeah, let's get that zip style.
I need to put some patents on some words, I think, because
copyright it.
I'm doing that zip. I'm doing specials on zip styles all through May, by the way.
You gotta make a shirt that says zip style.
My logo, my stickers do have the word zip on them, and not my new merch, but my old merch had the word zip on it as well. And I'm getting a felt banner made currently that I might actually have the word zip on it. Just it being an ongoing thing. It's confusing, which I like because it's maybe confusing, curious.
Yeah,
curious to know.
What are zips? Oh, you don't know what zips are? Well, if you don't know what zips, you can't get a zip. You can't zip or zap.
You have to be able to define it to get it.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Which is tricky because I can't define it, but I'm doing them.
A zip is what a zip is to you.
It's a state of mind.
Yeah, exactly. So if someone has to have a concrete definition of zip, they don't really want a zip.
Oh, what is a zip? What is a zip? What would you say a zip is?
Well, I haven't.
You see my work, right?
Yeah.
You follow it?
I do.
So what's a zip? If you were saying that's a zip style. And so I'm going to totally take this information and market it.
Well, from, a lot of the tattoos that I have on me or I've seen.
I did not know that you had tattoos until today, by the way.
Oh, really?
Our previous hangs, you were in long sleeves.
Yeah. Dude, all about it.
Tatted.
And, I feel like a zip style, to me, as defined by me, is it's just.
Is it weird for me to have asked you to define my work?
No, it's just so abstract. Like it's like when if I ever saw your zips, I know that's Chip.
Thank you.
When I'm like, that is a style that I know, like, because I don't know too many contemporary artists, but like, yeah, it is what it is, pretty much. It's not a very good description, but it's
all right. So here's the deal. It was fun for me to put you on the spot to describe it. Thank you. It was even more fun that you were struggling through it because that's what I like. I like the fact that it's a bit more on the ambiguous side.
Mm-hmm. You just know it when you see it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. And I don't like... Here's the deal. And I respect, first of all, and I appreciate that you have referred to it as abstract multiple times and not watercolor. Because I know that you've bit your tongue on referring to it as watercolor. Because that's kind of the token... cliche. That's the hashtag that I put out there to get more business.
Right.
Then I in turn say, oh, I don't like the term hashtag.
Well, the first time we met and I saw
But
it,
I love
and
hypocrisy.
and it mentioned to me, I do it as watercolor, but as following your journey from then to now, like actually paying attention to it, I was like,
well, here's the deal.
More.
Here's the deal. And technical talk, and I guess this part of this podcast is me being my process and what I do and who I am, which is my art. The general critique from a traditional tattooer or from the tattoo culture would be in reference to a watercolor tattoo, which is just a modern approach to tattooing. Loose, open, interpretive line weight. Sorry, my phone's off.
You're good.
All of that being said, the idea behind that is then in turn, there's not enough black, there's no line weight or whatever, so it won't hold because the traditional thinking is bold will hold, which is true.
Yeah.
Black is always going to hold longer than pink, white, yellow. Ooh, yeah, I mean, I get that. So what I'll do with the swashed out color or that washing out color palette, it always starts from a dark base. Most often starts from black. I have ladies, or not always ladies, sometimes gentlemen, but people in general that will say, hey, I'm looking for this tattoo. I love your work because it's super vibrant and bright, but I don't want any black. So I'm like, well, which one do you want? Do you want it super vibrant and bright, or do you want it without any black? Because the black
makes everything
giving
pop.
you the vibrant. Exactly. So there's tricks in doing that where it's not just black. It'll be black to green, black to red, black to blue, black to whatever. But that's a heavy dark base. And I'm not necessarily defining every single part of the tattoo with a fine line, but it will have a dark element to it, and there'll be a weight to it and a balance. So that's something that I lean into. That maybe separates me from a watercolor community. I don't know. I just don't think about it from those terms. I like.
I've explored the hashtags.
Yeah, I like graphic art. I like graphic based things. I like bright color. I like simple color. I'm okay with it being referred to as watercolor. I'm okay referred to it as Photoshop style. I'm a contemporary. I don't really care.
Is that what it's called? Like Photoshop style?
Sometimes.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. It's just the layers of things.
Okay.
I don't know that that's specifically in my world. It really doesn't matter to me, man.
Right. I
like to do what I like to do, and thankfully, I've been able to make a career at it that's not necessarily defined. Like I say it jokingly. Excuse me. I say it jokingly reference. I'm a one-trick pony, but there's variances of the trick. The contemporary art is what I do, who I am. And then there's the graphic elements, there's the watercolor elements, there's the, no line floral patterns that are part of that world. Whatever it is, I've been able to make a living doing what I do now without having to define it. And
well, your customers define it for you.
Yeah, I guess. I guess.
It's
weird because I did a tattoo today that was legitimately kind of to rise above, fight the power to the people. Strong, bold fist, resist, we're standing up, tattoo. But it looks in the same wheelhouse of style as a tattoo I did the day before that was just a line of roses and peonies and all these other natural flowers and this like soft, delicate floral pattern with it.
Yeah, like if you do things like a lot, you can sort of get into like not like a state of like stagnation. What do you do usually? Like, how do you keep like sharp?
I don't know.
Or like what like how to avoid like complacency, especially like in tattooing.
Well, I don't have any practices. I don't have any like things. I just get to work.
Right.
I have a very rigid like principle of. You get an email from me every Sunday that's, hey, don't forget about your appointment, or hey, I hope your tattoo's healing up well. How I really appreciate it. I valued the tattoo the week before, showing a sign of personal. That really mattered to me. You trust me, and I appreciate that. So the week before, I look at that week, and this is what I've got focused on. This is that, and I remind you about your appointment. Give me all the information that I have to prepare the drawing, and I'll start a drawing on, let's say, a Sunday. Monday is sometimes the day off, sometimes I work. It depends. But I do like a preliminary pre-drawing early, like on a Sunday or Monday, for the week that week's of work.
Mm-hmm.
And then before you come in, I'll redesign that, or I'll tighten it up, or I'll have a better idea, or I'll rehash that. So by the time you've gotten in there, I've redrawn that thing maybe 5 times, 6 times, whatever. And I'm old school. I'm still vellum paper, red pencil, Sharpie or Micron pencil, or excuse me, pen, whatever, and then to the printer. I don't mess with any. That's just my process. Not knocking anyone else. So that's just what I like to do.
Honestly, I didn't know that because I thought, like, just looking at your artwork, I thought that you like drew on the person and then tattooed.
Sometimes I'll do the stencil, the thing, what's the obvious image, and then I'll do the color swashing, like pull out kind of deal. I usually shape that to the muscle tone, either with straight to machine to skin, or I'll draw it in Sharpie. And then I'll take the stencil, whatever, like a 3rd layer pattern. I'll do that. Sometimes the client wants it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes the tattoo needs it, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends.
Right.
So, but it's all a process. It's not just, this is what it's got, and I'm not changing that at all because it's on the piece of paper. Well, that's the piece of paper. That's your skin that's going to last forever. Why not put what matters on your skin?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my philosophy. I don't know if there's a right or wrong. That's what I do.
Yeah, I know a lot of people know your rules and stuff, like before they agree to get tattooed by you and get a zip.
I only tattoo what I design. There are exceptions of other artists that I respect or I like, and I can pay tribute to the art. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to replicate anything. One, I have no interest in replicating art. That's already been done. I'm more interested in making something as opposed to making this look like that. Mm-hmm. So that's my heart space. But if I can do some sort of variance, or some sort of tribute, or some sort of honoring what's happening, that's fun. But I'm not on any level trying to pretend like I can make what that dude is. I don't subscribe to the best when it comes to art. It's like, no, I'm going to do my best. That person's going to do their best. They're the best in what they've got. They're the best what they've got. You like what I've like. It's why what's the best mean? I'm the best at expressing what you've asked me to express. Yeah. I'm the best at telling the story I can. I had a lady, and this is a bit of an ego. It's braggadocious, so apologize. But a lady came from Germany, and she went to the restroom after the tattoo was over, and her husband was like, "Hey, can she get some pictures with you, man? Because she thinks you're the coolest cat on this planet." She's so stoked that we came from wherever they came from in Germany to get tattooed by the American guy that's just the best at the contemporary style tattoos. Wherever that came from. I don't even know, whatever, right?
Yeah.
My response to him was, well, I don't know what this best business means, but I'm going to do my best. Oh, that's where art lies. Well, if you're doing what you do, you're staying in your lane, you're staying pure, staying true, staying genuine to who and what you are, which I'm trying to. In my process, not only in the storytelling and the putting something on your body, but also in my mind and where that's coming from, I'm staying true to how I do it. It works. Yeah. It's fun. And it's fun. It's purposeful.
Yeah. Well, saying the best is very subjective. Like saying you're the best to me, So if someone says you're best, you don't have to say well, I know this other artist that's blah blah blah.
Oh, sure.
In their mind,
if you are the best at it, then they'll do that for you, right? I don't think Tom Brady's walking around talking about his rings.
No,
you know what I mean?
He just wears them.
I don't. Yeah. Where else would that go? Whatever lane.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and it's pretty dope. That, especially the way that you sit here and talk about it, the real passion that you have about it, and it doesn't sound like work, Oh,
no, it's not.
Because I mean, a lot of people that I know who have their 9-to-5s and stuff, they're just dragging their way to the weekend, and it's that is work, because they're working for the man or someone, someone else,
it's keeping them down. Right? Yeah,
it's keeping them just enough money to.
Well, do you know why I value and I appreciate what I do now? It's because I've had those jobs.
Yeah,
I have worked factories. I worked in an explosives company where I drove a pump truck, where I would suck water out of these 180-foot holes in rock quarry, cliff sides, so they could go through and pack dynamite in them and blow them up, rubble, whatever. Dude, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, I'd drive for hours just to do that and then drive back and then load trucks all day long. I've worked in warehouses. I've worked in sales jobs that I hated. So I get where I get to tattoo.
Yeah.
And every day I feel it's a privilege. I get to tell other people's stories. Ups and downs of life, the struggles, the miseries, the frustrations, the pains, the confusions, whatever of life that I deal with, that you deal with, the people deal with.
Everyone.
I get the, I'm not sure if it'll be therapy, but I get the opportunity of every single day I can lose myself at least for a couple of hours in someone else's story, because I have the responsibility of telling your story. I don't feel that I can complain about the end of a tattoo, and I can't say, well, man, that was Eli's fault because he had a terrible idea. I'm the one that said yes to it, right? Mm-hmm. So if it's a terrible idea, I'm riding with it. So I got to figure that out.
We're on a journey together.
That's awkward, dude. I don't want to be in that car. So my responsibility is, how can I make that idea better? What can I do to tighten things up, clean it up, be respectful, responsible to the story? Or then at the end of the day, just say, no, I don't. I'm not your dude. I'm not. I am not. Well, I don't know when this is going out, but
Sunday.
I'm not your guy for black and gray tattoos. I don't think that's who I am.
Yeah.
There are so many people in this city that are just crushing that. I'm not your guy for realism. I'm not your guy for portrait work. I'm not your guy for a traditional tattoo. I'm your guy for a modern, contemporary watercolor. That's. So staying in your lane is very important, and staying healthy and staying focused on what you do. And
well, you got to stand by your principles of what you're creating at the same time, and you're not chasing
having your strength and acknowledging the 15 weaknesses that you have. Mm-hmm. More importantly than recognizing the good thing is
Was it hard at first being turning down business?
Okay. Yes and no. Turning down business, yes. It's hard, and committing to this is what I'm going to do, and saying you have to commit to it. Yeah. There's no balance of you can look on the internet or walk around and look at portfolios or however you look at tattoos, and you can see the guys that kind of halfway do the contemporary style stuff, and they're still stuck in their traditional, very strong, heavy, limited color palette versus a balance and a flow and a vibe. And it's a finesse. One is a bold, strong power game. One is a finesse game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard to flip that switch. So you see that. So it was tricky for me to transition. It was easy for me, and I just landed in Nashville, in a city that wanted a sense of creativity. There was a demand for that style of art, and I was able to sit in and feel the demand. I didn't mean to. I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah. You found a corner in the market.
That's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of fun. That's legitimately how I've made a living for the past 9 years. It's just having fun.
Yeah, the way that you talk about it, especially with the contemporary art style, is dope. Do you feel like some tattoo artists feel trapped in certain types of tattoo artwork that they do? Like in the military, on an army post, they have, the things on the walls, and most GIs will pick that and have it tattooed, and it doesn't really allow you to express your creativity. It's basically just having people on a line and tattooing them. Do you feel like a lot of some tattoo artists are stuck in that, or is it easy to fall into just because the money's there?
Well, I think you'd have to ask them. I don't know. I don't pay attention to any. I have a hard enough time balancing my business, let alone worrying about someone else's. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think so. I think your environment makes a big difference in how you're making art. Business, I don't know. I can't answer. I don't know what other homies are making. I don't know what other dudes are making in the area.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So from a business perspective, I don't know. I don't care. Mm-hmm. From a work thing, I think there's a lot of artists that are selling themselves short on just getting by. There's some in this city. Nashville, Tennessee is a phenomenal tattoo city. There are studios and individual artists that are just pushing the envelope. They're traditional guys, and there's an abundance of traditional tattooers, and there's some that really, really stand out. There's realistic tattooers, realism, and I'm not sure how you say that. I don't know.
You're the artist.
Well, I'm not interested in that. There's a lot of that in the city, and they're good, and they're quality, and if that's what you're into, good, stoked for you. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of contemporary style tattooing. There's not a lot of modernism or progressive art. I'm not sure what title. If it's weird to have titles in tattooing.
Yeah.
The same that you would have titles in music. Do you have titles in like?
IT.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like computer. Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so categorization is important in all fields.
Yeah, because
Right.
you'll be like a network engineer or a system engineer doing
All right,
information
cool.
security.
So for me, a lot of the obstacle in tattooing is I don't really have anyone else's ear to bend, or
Yeah.
I don't have a. There's a couple of watercolor tattooers in the area, and there's one or two tattooers that lean into more modern, more progressive style art, but not really. So I don't really have anyone else I can lean in and chop it up about like process or art or technique necessarily. So I have to rely on intuition.
Well, when you were apprenticing, like you were learning the traditional type of tattoo, right?
Yeah, well, it was a street shop. So it was just someone walks in, and this is suburban Charlotte. That's not. I don't want to knock it, and I'm very thankful for my upbringing and appreciation. But it was a lot of street art stuff. Baby mama name on the neck. I got $120 in my pocket, homie. Can I get this tattoo, and can I get it right now? That kind of stuff. Not a lot. I wasn't really flexing a lot of artistic wings.
So how did you end up like honing your craft for the contemporary style?
Oh, I was invited to Nashville. I worked at a studio. It's called Safe House Tattoo. And I worked there the longevity of my career until I went. I'm private now for the last couple of years. But I actually turned the job down a couple of times. I was asked to come and work, and it just made no sense. Intimidation, timing, whatever. So, but when I took the job, I took the interview. I was like, "Hey, I'm looking to make X amount of dollars per week," and my standard was still like suburban Charlotte. So, the shop owner, his name's Ian. He all but laughed in my face. I was like, "Really, dude? That's what you're looking to make?" He's like, "You'll make that next week, just doing walk-ins." Come on, Nashville's not that city. Nashville gets art, which thankfully is very true. It's sometimes the tattoo industry can be feast or famine, and when you're learning, your chops, you have to ride that wave, and you get to a place. For me, getting there and then finally settling into like, all right, I want more out of my art. I want to grow. I want to learn. I want to apply. I want to contribute to the art world. Got to Nashville with those attitudes, that kind of conviction, with wanting to do the style that I wanted to do. And I literally I worked here for I did a guest spot, which allowed the familiarity, which offered me the job. I landed here, but I decided, hey, let me work here a week, go home to North Carolina for a week, come back for a week, come back and forth, establish a clientele as I'm closing out a clientele. You get it?
Yeah. And this is after you're doing zips in the touring role.
Oh,
right?
yeah. That started almost my apprenticeship.
Okay.
So I've been doing that my entire career.
All right.
More so in the early part than now, actually, with a clientele that has a demand on your time. Anyway, that being said, the back and forth. When I met with Ian in an interview, we met at Frothy Monkey in the city, coffee shop, just vibey, hanging. And I was like, look, I need to make X amount of money to secure. I had a daughter at the time, wife. Need to secure I'm making the responsible moves for my family. But I said, and now, important artistically, what's the value there is, I want to be able to make the art that I really feel called to make, purposeful to make, and I want to have a signature. When you see that piece of art, you know that I've made it. My mom, years ago, not hip on tattoos, just doesn't get it. She's like, I love your art, I just don't understand why you can't sign it. And I'm like, well, the art is the signature.
Yeah.
You know I've done it when I've made. She's like, well, I just don't get that. And I'm like, well, you're the wife of a Southern Baptist pastor.
I get why you don't get it.
You're an HR director of a small town. I get it. And we're not going to have those conversations. She called me, bro, like maybe a year or two after that conversation from the airport in Salt Lake City. It was like, I saw one of your tattoos on a guy's leg at the airport, and I had to walk up to him and ask him about it. I said, that's my boy, that's Chipper.
That's a zip, dude. That's what I'm going back to. That's
right.
Yeah.
So she saw that. She's like, I totally get it now. I totally understand. The signature is in the art. That's the identity. So, that being said, that that plays a part in all of it. And so it's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty dope, man. Dude.
For your mom to recognize it.
Yeah.
Right? That's cool.
Exactly. In an airport. Come on
Sure.
now. Come on. Like, what are the
City.
odds? Yeah.
Not even the state that either one of us live in.
Exactly.
That's cool.
How does that feel sometimes? Like, just
it's
like,
weird.
Your art is literally probably everywhere. It travels. Your art travels.
There's a tattoo studio in is it Indonesia or Malaysia? I think it's Indonesia. There is a tattoo studio that has. So I did this. It was in 2020. It might have been 2019. But I did these just real basic line drawings, just eye fodder, just killing time during COVID, whatever. Just drawings that I ended up posting as tattoo references. You want to get tattooed, but it was these triangular patterns that were nature scenes. It's earth, wind, fire. It was like summer, spring, fall.
Yeah.
It was like the mountains, the beach, like a meadow, a garden, whatever. There's a tattoo shop in Indonesia. And I have a tattoo client that just happens to be a missionary that just happened to be in Indonesia that walked in that saw this like a flash sheet of tattoo art on this wall that it's like a 5-panel like pork chop sheet of flash sheet of my reference of art that they just totally ripped it off of Instagram and printed them and made a flash sheet out of it.
Wow.
Like, no permission asked at all. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's fun. Whatever. I hope they make $1 million.
And it's Indonesia. I don't know if the copyright laws really extend to there.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
I've been stolen from them multiple times. Actually.
Really?
Yeah, I had a graphic design artist in Charlotte back in the day, or Statesville, that ripped me off for some paintings. And I did this commission-based paintings for him that I never got paid for. They had like 15 like billboards in like the Central Piedmont, North Carolina area. Like Statesville to Charlotte is about a 35, 40-mile clip. And then into Wilkesboro, which is like the mountains, is another 40-mile clip. So we're talking a couple of hour radius. And this mom and pop's like hardware store paid to have this ad campaign, and they wanted a 50s looking painting of like an old boy, like, whatever style. I did the painting, never got paid for it. There was like 15 of these billboards all over. But my fault, because I never got a piece of paper signed. I never got a contract signed. It was a handshake, and the dude was like, show me on a piece of paper where I owe you anything. Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's when you call the mafia.
Bro, there's a lady in Hillsborough Village in downtown Nashville that took a picture of a tattoo that I did on a lady's arm and made postcards of it and was selling it. I actually went into the store to try and buy the postcard. I thought it would be funny to buy my own art, right? And they were sold out, which was cool. They were all dope. My art sold out. How do you feel? I didn't see one penny, but my art sold out.
You're like, yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I've asked lawyers about intellectual property, and they're like, I don't know. So, I don't know. I'll find a compliment in it, I guess.
That is.
Yeah. So, that being said, if you ever email me about a tattoo and I don't show you the drawing ahead of time,
that's why.
That's why. I've been stolen from and I've learned my lesson.
What? Man, that is wild, dude.
Trippy.
Yeah, it's even worse because you do such a specific style that it is yours. You're just like,
right.
You can't live in denial and be like, oh, that's an eagle. Anybody could have made that eagle. You're like, no, that's me.
Not only is that an eagle, that's my eagle.
Yeah.
Whatever. What do you
do?
And I don't know. And a lot of it is being a kind soul. Like, I still don't charge deposits for tattoos.
Okay.
I still just choose to accept people's trust. I'm going to trust people. You're trusting me with your body. Mm-hmm. I'm going to trust you with not ripping my time off.
No, I mean, I get that. I'm a very say what you mean and mean what you say type person.
And I get ripped off a few times a year, but, it's...
Chalk it up.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Chalk it up to the game.
It's whatever. It's on me. It's on me.
Man,
I'd rather lean into the positive.
Yeah.
Of knowing that they're stoked on getting the tattoo, and I'm stoked on doing the tattoo, than worrying about, you pay me $100, and then we'll worry about it. Oh, my passion goes further than the $100 deposit.
Right.
And not to say, I'm not knocking anyone else that does. That's their process. You invited me here, and I'm assuming the point of that was talking about my process.
Exactly.
I'm only talking about mine.
Yeah.
I don't care what any other tattooer does. That's their business. That's their money. That's their art. That's their passion. Stoked.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I do what I do for the people that I do it for. and find the reciprocal appreciation and understanding of that. And it's fun. It's fun. Getting to work with people that trust you and they're like, hey, I made this drive or this flight or this whatever for this piece of art, and I want you to do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It's intimidating. It's intense to know that, dude, there's someone walking around Liverpool, England. There's someone walking around Australia. There's someone walking around Brazil.
That's a funny...
That not only has your tattoo on them, they have your opinion about art on them.
Did you say Liverpool because my flag's right there?
I didn't mean to, but
no.
They're probably a fan. That's pretty specific, right?
Yeah.
Dude, really? You go hard.
I go hard in the paint,
You go hard. All right. All right. I respect it. That caught me off guard. I respect it.
Yeah.
I need a Georgia Bulldog. They win the national championship. I'm getting an UGA tattoo.
Man, when will they do that?
Next 2, maybe 3 years.
Well, maybe their recruiting class is pretty good, man.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
It sucks having Alabama there.
Bro, my wife, the SEC. My wife talked all sorts of crap about us talking about football the last time we got together and hung, so we'll avoid it this time.
Dude, you got it, man. Like,
it's my life.
Georgia or Alabama's just so. Nick Saban, goddamn, dude. I don't know.
What do you do, man?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Wait, he's the GOAT. I mean, what do you say?
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to coach a squad.
He just, yeah. And he's built up such success that he can just be like, "You want to come here or not?" And then people are like, "Yeah."
Yeah, excellence speaks for itself. I'm not a fan.
Which comes
of trash.
Which comes back to you. Actually, speak for themselves and your tattoos, and like you said, people traveling from countries, dude, overseas to get your zips, bro. Like that's wild.
It is weird.
Wild, man.
It's weird. It's uncomfortable.
I bet.
The first time a dude came from Australia, I had to actually leave the room because I got like teary-eyed. And I didn't want him to be like,
what's wrong?
Bro, I came all the way from Australia and this dude, you can play it cool. You play it, you fake it till you make it kind of deal. So I got to get up and leave. But I was like, what?
Dude.
This dude has come from how far?
Dude, I get it, man, because
it's weird.
Every time I get a listen or a view on YouTube for this, because like I love doing this. I love talking to people like you and stuff. It's just like a little. I'm just like.
Do you follow the analytics of it?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I can't do it.
I'm an analytical person.
So I'm a DIY guy. I'm do it yourself, full blown punk rock ethos of you design and being a visual artist. And really, all I do is design things and then kind of put it out there and hope that the product, the art, promotes and markets itself. I don't. I have very I don't know what to do past that. But all of that being said, I'm responsible for getting it out there. I'm responsible for making sure that it's. I am the design. I'm the brand. I'm the marketing. The tattoos are the thing.
Yeah.
I hate to think I'm selling it because I'm not selling art. No. I'm making art.
Yeah.
But I am the brand. So learning that kind of stuff is so intimidating to me. I can't look at the analytics or I can't look at any of the. I hate that side of it.
Bro, I get it. Just because like how I grew up, like I'm like service before self.
Yeah.
And
right?
all that stuff, and putting myself out there, doing this. Having the privilege to talk to. I'm not trying to blow your ego, but like talk to you, talk to Rowdy, talk to everybody, everyone that's giving me the time to come here on this podcast. It's just like I'm honored every time someone comes and sits next to me and wants to talk about their story and stuff. So, I kind of look at it, it's just like I hope everyone just feels the same way I do, like hearing these stories about themselves.
I get that. Thank you. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, dude, it's wild. Like I never tried to put myself in the forefront of anything.
I don't know how it happened. In terms of making art and then making art that's somewhat obvious. Like I did it if I did my job properly. At least from my conviction, that I did that tattoo. If I did it, I hope that's a positive.
Yeah.
There's a handful of negative Yelp reviews out there, but I hope I did you a service in telling your story through my lens. That's what you've commissioned me to do. It matters to me.
Yeah.
I lose sleep over every piece of, not every piece of art, but I lose sleep over wanting to dig into the story, wanting to understand what's happening here, how can I do what I want to do, whatever. Sometimes it's something shape and color and whatever. Sometimes it's as deep as like the emotional value.
Yeah.
But it matters to me. So I recognize that it matters to you. And then once you put it out there, like the social media aspect of, making art in 2021, tattooing, the marketing side of things, I'd be a fool to not use that as my advertising and getting my name. I'd say probably 80% of my work comes from that. But finding the balance of like, all right, this is important for the person that's sitting beside me. The person that's lost a loved one or had a loved one or celebrating or overcoming or achieving or just thinks that this thing is dope and it spoke to their life. Whatever. This moment, this time is about them. They're dealing with the pain. They're dealing with the emotional connection. They waited in line to get it because work off of a waiting list.
Right.
All of that is yours. So the time in the seat, the time in the chair, that Tuesday afternoon from 11 to 2 or 11 to 5 or whatever the time is, that's yours. After that becomes the social media, marketing, connectivity. There's art and then there's marketing the art or there's promoting the art. And that's tricky because I hate it, but I need it to make a living.
Exactly.
But anyway, so finding the balance of that has helped me of understanding it's about the moment. It's about the person. It's about the story. And being able to tell that in a real place. And also understanding I'm in a weird place. I'm in a really, really weird place where I don't have a lot of social media connection in terms of like my Instagram is all I use. And
right.
In terms of the number presence, I don't have a huge amount. I have a decent amount. I think it's like just under 13,000, whatever. That's a decent amount of pull and connectivity in
for sure.
That's reaching. I'm not some duck-lipped influencer, whatever, but there's a connectivity there. The more my growth gets higher, the less my engagement is. It's bizarre. The more people that start following me, the less likes I get, and I don't know.
Yeah.
If it's I'm less involved now than I was before. I don't know if it's I've lulled people to sleep. I don't know if I'm missing something that I'm not as good as I was. I don't know.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows how it works.
Well, I don't really care either.
No.
That's the beauty of it.
And that's the best thing.
I've come to a peace some days. Today, cool. Tomorrow, we'll see. But I've come to a peace of I'm doing the best work I can do. I'm giving my heart and soul to that person in that moment. That's not about the internet. That's about that person. And if I'm being real with you, and this is just being honest, those internet numbers, the likes, that ain't about me. It's about you seeing it on the other side of the computer, saying, "Oh, this guy has X amount, so he's successful."
Yeah.
If I need the ego stroke, if I need the boost, if I need the evaluation, I can just open up my phone and look at my calendar and see that I'm booking for. Well, right now it's July because I do it month by month, and that's good for me. Or I can look into my bank account and see. I mean, that's not a cocky statement. Because,
No.
I still have a debt to income, obviously.
Yeah.
But I can see the money that's being made by drawing pictures on people every day. The value of what I do for a living has nothing to do with the likes on Instagram. So if you get a better sense of peace about that, then it doesn't matter as much anymore. It's just a marketing tool, and you're focused on what's happening in the day-to-day.
Yeah, my main...
And that's peace. That's peaceful.
Yeah, my main goal about all this is that I reach someone, like with your story or anybody else's story, and they're like, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
And to make that leap into what they want to do. You know what I mean?
I never introduce myself in public as a tattooer.
Right.
I will always say I'm an artist.
Yeah.
I like graphic design. I like painting. I love tattooing.
Well, tattooing.
I like commercial art. I like fashion. I like interior design. All of those things that I dabble in, sort of. I'm a tattooer that does those things.
Isn't tattooing just painting on skin canvas?
Well, if you ask me, it is. And certainly the painterly style of what I do is.
Yeah.
But all of that being said, it leads back to the, you don't have to define whatever it is or whatever's happening. It's just,
Mm-hmm. No, I get it.
So.
No, I love it, man. I love what you do, dude. And I'm going to get a tattoo from you soon.
Thank you.
A zip. I'm not going to get a tattoo. I'm going to get a zip.
You're going to zip style.
Yeah, man.
Well, when we sit down and do the zip style, we'll also define what it is.
Exactly. Because I've actually been thinking about you, dude. Because I wanted to get another zip, and I want to get my full right sock done right
Oh,
here.
I need an ankle?
Well, yeah.
All right.
So we're gonna have to get together on that.
Well, let's do it. And
Yeah.
I mean, what tattoo would I like to show off? So all tattoos want to do big tattoos, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's gonna be a whole thing. It's gonna be a whole project.
Well, okay, let's get it.
But thank you for stopping by today.
Yeah, thank you.
You're awesome, and I hope that you come back on the show whenever you want to.
Dude, thank you so much.
You have an open seat
fun.
right
Hey,
there.
What? So, if you had to pinpoint like the thing that this podcast is about like creativity, entrepreneurship, business mindset. What is your thing? What are you after?
I have been asked this, and I feel like I have came up with a very concrete answer to this.
More of an introduction question than
Yes.
an outro question, but sorry.
KetanVision is all about getting to know an individual that's loves what they do in their craft, that has been willing to sacrifice for what they've done to push because they know what they want to do and have made something out of themselves because they had a concrete belief in themselves.
Yeah, okay.
And I hope through these conversations to inspire the next generation of whatever that they want to do. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, no, that's cool.
So you do zips,
Zips.
contemporary tattoo work. If there's someone that comes on and listens to this that had a passion for it and just didn't know what to do, they hear you talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
If they want to be a musician like Rowdy, they hear about being the
point is
being
putting
the
in the work
backhand,
anyway.
putting in the work, understanding that it's not insurmountable.
Oh no.
Nothing is impossible.
Recognizing sacrifice, hard work.
Yes.
Recognizing purpose and passion, knowing, hey, this is where I'm at, and not compromising that, and trusting that other people will see the fruits of that, and it works.
Exactly. That's all I'm looking for when people come in here.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, and there's a hard line.
Yeah.
Between commerce and the marketplace, and making money, and making art. Quality art that matters, that people want to hear. And, there's occasions that you get to find the balance of both, but defining what you're looking for.
Exactly.
Are you looking for making art that is purposeful and passionate and it matters to you and it's telling a story and it's real? Or is there some, I don't know, the world of rolling in money side of things, but you know what I mean? The balance of what matters to you.
Yeah.
You define that and then you chase it and there you are.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you are someone who wants to do something, like, tattooing and doing contemporary artwork, do it. You don't have to be stuck doing a 9-to-5, something you hate, and then wishing that you would have done something, but afraid because everything, everything is sacrificed.
Sometimes it matters both. I apprenticed learning to tattoo, and I worked a full-time factory job, and I went in and worked at the tattoo shop. I would go in on my lunch break and clean tubes and do some of the apprenticeship stuff. Go back to work all day, and then go back to the tattoo studio and do the drawing, the painting, the prep work, the making needles, the making, the hard, the apprenticeship stuff after. And then I would go in and work all day Saturday at the apprenticeship thing.
Yep.
So sometimes the sacrifice might be more, it doesn't always make sense.
Right.
But you do it because it's your passion. It's what matters.
Exactly.
Because you love it. Dude, I would tattoo for free. If I had another way of making an income and I was able to sustain my life this way, but I could still do this, I would totally still tattoo. I love it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I get asked all the time if I have any hobbies. I'm like,
tattooing is my hobby.
I draw for a living.
No, you do have a hobby, collecting skate decks.
Yeah, I do that, but yeah, fair enough. I do that. That's the hobby.
Your whole office.
But the idea is, I love tattooing, so it's like I'm not escaping anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I get it.
Cool.
It's all love.
Well, thank you for your kind words, dude. You're a gentleman.
Oh, well, thank you. And visionaries, remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're listening, we're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Cast and all those other,
This is gonna be on all of them.
all of them. So rate if you can, and we will see you later. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, I forgot. Your last words. Let the visionaries know what you got going on.
Oh man, just do whatever you do. Do it with purpose. It was a passion. Keep it positive.
Amen, brother. I do. All right, we'll see you later. Peace.